"Look at him," someone whispered with a smirk. He actually thought he was invited. Soft laughter rippled across the room, bouncing off white marble floors and towering glass walls. The place smelled of polished stone and expensive perfume. Screens on the walls glowed with numbers rising and falling, millions moving with a tap. At the center of it all stood Victor Halle, a man known everywhere for his wealth and influence. His name opened doors. His money silenced arguments. Today, he stood surrounded by doctors, assistants, and well-dressed guests. His smile was sharp, confident, untouchable. "Heal me for $1 million, Victor said loudly, laughing as if it were the best joke in the room. The crowd laughed with him. What most of them didn't notice was the way his left hand trembled when he thought no one was watching, or how his skin had gone pale beneath the confidence. Earlier that morning, Victor had collapsed during a meeting. Doctors ran tests. Scans showed nothing clear. Yet the pain remained deep, sharp, and frightening. Joking was easier than admitting fear. Near the back of the room stood a boy named Elior. He was small for his age, wearing a faded shirt and shoes worn thin at the soles. He didn't belong in this place of power and wealth. He stood beside his mother, Mara, who cleaned office buildings at night. Her hands clutched a cloth bag tightly, her eyes moving nervously across the room. She wanted to pull her son back, hide him from the stares, from the judgment, but Elior stepped forward anyway. Not boldly, not loudly, just quietly. People began to notice. A man scoffed. A woman frowned with pity. A security guard took one step closer. Victor raised an eyebrow, amused. "You tired, kid?" he said with a thin smile. Elior didn't answer. He had learned long ago that power doesn't live in noise. When Elior was younger, he spent hours watching his grandmother in a small room that smelled of herbs and soap. People came to her with aches, stress, and pain doctors couldn't explain. She never rushed. She never shouted. She listened. She taught Elior how to feel a pulse, not just count it. How to notice heat, tension, and imbalance. How pain leaves footprints if you know where to look. Power doesn't shout, she used to say. It waits. She had passed away 2 winters ago, but her lessons lived on in his hands. Now in this room filled with wealth and disbelief, Elior waited. Victor's smile wavered as pain suddenly flared again, sharp and cruel. His breath caught. His fingers clenched. "Fine," he muttered, trying to laugh it off. "Go on then." Elior stepped closer. He placed 2 fingers gently on Victor's wrist. The room fell silent. Elior closed his eyes. He felt the pulse fast, uneven, heat along the arm, tightness near the shoulder and collarbone. Just like his grandmother taught him, he didn't force anything. He adjusted Victor's arm slightly. Eased the pressure. Let the body respond. Seconds passed. Victor frowned. The pain shifted. It wasn't gone, but it was different. Duller. Further away. "What is he doing?" someone whispered. Elior stayed silent. He followed what he felt, not what he saw. Then something changed. Victor's breathing slowed. His shoulders dropped. The shaking stopped. He waited for the pain to return. It didn't. Victor straightened slowly, his eyes wide with confusion. Color returned to his face. He moved his arm. Nothing. No stabbing pain, no burning pressure. Just relief. "What did you do?" Victor asked, his voice no longer loud, just real. Elior stepped back. "I listened," he said softly. Doctors rushed forward, checking monitors. The numbers settled into calm, steady lines. One of them swallowed hard, staring at the boy like the world had shifted beneath his feet. Victor let out a laugh, but this time it broke halfway and turned into a shaky breath. He reached for his phone. "The money," he said automatically. "Take it." Elior raised his hand gently. "Please, no." The room froze again. "Healing isn't for sale," Elior said. "It's a duty." Those words landed heavy. Victor felt something change inside him, deeper than pain ever reached. He nodded slowly. Then, to everyone's shock, he knelt down on the polished floor so he was eye level with the boy. "Thank you," he said. Simple, honest. Elior nodded once and returned to his mother's side. They left quietly, slipping back into the street where life waited as it always had. Weeks later, a small free clinic opened in Elior's neighborhood. Doctors were told to listen more. Rush less. Remember why they started. Victor never used Elior's name for fame. Never took credit. He just changed. Elier kept learning, studying, practicing, carrying his grandmother's lessons like a quiet flame. Because sometimes the strongest power is silence. And sometimes the greatest healing comes from hands the world overlooks.